Hi guys,
Hi.
welcome to our channel. Today we have Lennart. Lennart works with me in the same company, and we've known each other for almost 9 months now. So
Yeah.
so today actually he's a German. So he will be sharing some words to us, like how the life in Germany is, and he can give us any advice for people who are coming to Germany. So thanks a lot, Lennart.
All right. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So the first question, Leonard, for you would be like, how would you like? What is your feeling that like there are lots of people coming in, and because there is also outside saying that we are somehow stealing your job opportunities or something. What do you have to say for that?
Well, given, in total, that's of course bullshit.
Okay.
There's plenty of evidence for that just isn't true. Also, I'm always remembered when this kind of topic comes up, like people from outside stealing our jobs. There's an old joke that goes, if somebody comes to your country and without knowing the language, without having the connections, and without having the social integration in any way, is able to steal your job, maybe you suck at your job. And I really share that feeling, and especially in IT, where you and I work. We have like 140,000 open positions in Germany, I think.
Yeah.
That was the last I read. There's no argument to say that there's enough people, because there isn't. And in total, whenever this topic comes up of foreigners stealing German people's jobs, usually the conversation, apart from IT, resolves around jobs that those people who are complaining are not willing to do anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Understand. So yeah, what do you tell to people who are planning to come to Germany and who has already found a job and they're willing to come? As a German, what would you suggest them to do before they come to Germany?
First of all, I think I would definitely say that getting the job, when you have the job, that's the hardest part. Because, and then of course to integrate within the job, because the job is actually the factor that pulls you in, even pulls you into the social life. Most likely the first friends you have are going to be your colleagues, or people you get to know through your work. And the first thing I always say, or I always recommend, that's very Germany specific, is that you really need to learn the language. Because in a city like Munich, you can definitely get around with English, there's no problem. In a workplace, it's definitely, you probably know that more than I do, but it's definitely an advantage to know German as well as you can. And don't be discouraged, because one thing Germans really know is that the language is terribly hard.
Yeah.
Every German will tell you that they are glad that they don't have to learn this.
Okay.
Because
it's their mother tongue.
It's a terrible language. There's so many things that make no sense at all.
Yeah.
The
articles.
The articles, and then there's you have spoon, fork, and knife are three different ones. Three different articles, like this.
Exactly.
Male, female, and neutral.
Neutral, yeah.
In there, but why?
Exactly. Maybe they just wanted to, make fun or just use it in their way they want. But yeah.
So don't get discouraged. Everybody knows it's terrible. It's very hard. But it's definitely worth it.
Exactly.
And especially in IT, it's a very great field to just ease into it, because you can definitely get along with English for the first months, and then ease into it and I don't know, force yourselves, like you do. I've noticed that. Pradeep always forces me, like whenever I'm, because I have a lot of colleagues, or we have a lot of colleagues that we just speak English.
Exactly.
Whenever I do that with you, you always switch to German. And force me to talk German with you, which is smart. And that's definitely also something that you can definitely do.
Exactly. I think this is what it's important, that you force yourself to speak in German, because they won't do it, because as you are in a work place, they won't speak in German because they respect you and they want to be polite with you and start speaking in English. But if you want to learn, you just have to start it in German, and just then they will only speak with you in German. And when you speak in English like we are speaking, it will be some kind of weird, because we always speak in German. But
true, yeah, but that's true anyway.
Exactly.
With any kind of people, like if my friends, like old friends I've always talked German with them, and then when I travel with them into another country, and then I speak English like around other people, and then also with them,
it's so weird, right?
It gets weird, like
exactly. Yeah, that's what. Thanks a lot for this. And next question I actually have, and this has happened to every one of us who came to Germany as an foreigner. So to make friends with Germans. So it's always too hard, when you come to Germany, you don't know the language, and it's all different. So how do you get to the point where you have friends, or what would you suggest to people out there?
That's a good question. It's a hard question too. Definitely don't be discouraged again, because Germans are, I guess, famous for, again, this is a prejudice, but it's somewhat true anyway.
Yeah.
That Germans are kind of distant and
they need their space, kind of thing.
Yes, and they're like very comfort zone people sometimes.
Yeah.
So don't think that don't think they don't want to get to know you, because they do, but they're not that great at showing it sometimes.
Okay.
And what you said is definitely a good idea, because in a friendship, that's the best way to learn a language in any way.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find friends in another country. I have done that myself, and that's definitely hard. Because there's no connection points. In Germany, there's a big culture of sports clubs and everything. So that's definitely something you can do, because sport, that's another great way to
exactly. And the language won't be a barrier anymore.
Yes.
When you go to sports.
And then with the sports, everybody is kind of the same anyway.
Team sports,
in a team. Yeah, that's
nice.
That's a tip I can give, even though I'm not in a sports club. But that's just because I'm terribly lazy.
You have to start. Getting to know the German culture, people who are coming here, and the culture is new to them, and of course they want to do, they come and they want to integrate. So what would you tell to them, to how can they do that?
Oh, integrating the German culture. We're playing with prejudices again here. Germans like to be on time. Everybody knows that. The one prejudice that I don't share at all is that Germans don't have humor.
Okay, that's yeah.
I don't know. Have you noticed? Is that true?
For example, I know you are a very humorous guy, but I also know people who are serious. But this is there in every culture, what I would say.
Yeah.
But I think I heard that Germans are like coconuts. On the top, they just seem like, it's really hard to break in. But once you break in, they are very nice people.
Yeah.
And they get to be friends. But there is also saying, once you get a German friend, you get a friend for life. I think it's kind of true. I don't know, what do you say?
That's definitely something. If you want to get into the culture, it's the same with integrating in any other culture. You just have to take part, and you just need to have exposure as much as you can get. So just go out,
True.
hang out with people. That's the best and kind of the only way to get integrated into the culture.
Today,
Like you won't get into the culture if you go to a museum alone over and over again.
Exactly, I understand. Unfortunately, this year the Oktoberfest is not taking place.
Oh,
But
that would be a good one. Because that's a good kind of also kind of a weird advice, but it's a good advice too. Germans tend to be more open under the influence of alcohol.
exactly, Oktoberfest.
And beer, and also Oktoberfest is kind of the epitome of that. But beer in any way is a socializer, not just because of the alcohol and the influence, but also just
maybe
because
a bit.
Germans are like, okay, now I'm gonna drink a beer. Even the attitude that you go into that situation is kind of like, okay, now we're just hanging loose. Like,
and also, I think dressing up for the occasion, for example, this Oktoberfest, if you wear a lederhose, for me, it was the attitude was completely different, because Germans, like when I wore it, everyone was like, wow, it's so good, you're wearing this thing, and they were like so much welcome.
I think that's also, if you have something that you can show that you are willing to integrate, Germans love that.
Exactly.
But you're one step ahead of me with that, because I don't have lederhosen at all, because I'm not a Bavarian dude.
Exactly. So. He's not from Bavaria, so he's kind of... But that's what. Even I feel the same. If you want to integrate, it's just that you have to dress up, and if you show that I want to learn or I want to speak in German, they will never say no, which is the best thing I find. So, cool.
Yeah.
So
Oktoberfest is really a great place to do that, because everybody is the same. That's kind of the idea of it. Kind of same with Carnival. In like Cologne, is that the cultural base that this entire event stands on is like everybody is the same here, even like class and whatever the profession or where you're from, doesn't matter.
True.
Just shut up and drink.
Hopefully it will take place next year, so let's wait for it.
And you don't have to drink. Like it's fun if you don't.
But it's fun if you drink also.
You can also eat.
Especially for single guys or also girls. Yeah. Okay, so the next question what I have is like, you have been born and brought up here. Many people, they are planning to come to Germany, stay here, have a life. So as the life perspective, or how the life, how it is, the lifestyle and everything, how would you suggest them? As you have grown up here, for example, your schooling and everything, what do you say to the guys? Like, is it good or...
I mean, if in terms of quality of life, I think there's almost no discussion to it. There's definitely a discussion like that gets more political though. When it's about like how fair is the status quo, like how fair is it that I can, like, my passport brings me to almost any country. It's like one of the top 3 mightiest passports in the world, and that's that's terrible in a way. But if you really want to just talk about the quality of life, I mean, there's no way around it. Like, you have almost free insurance basically.
Exactly.
You get medical care that's best in the world.
Schooling, the education is also
and education is great. I mean, it's I still feel like there's a lot of work to be done, but in like international comparison, in almost everything, like every performance indicator you can have in terms of healthcare or security or like quality of life in general, I mean, there's no way around it. Like, this is a very great country in a way. I mean, it's
perfect. I agree with you in this point. And the next one would be the work. Regarding the work, people are coming from, especially the IT field is booming. And many actually say that, Germany is not as forward when it comes to, US or something in terms of technology. Yeah. But what would you say in the future? What would happen for the jobs and everything like this?
If you want to work at like technologically the kind of the edge, like everything best in the world, I mean, we can talk about automobile industry, of course, which is still, I mean, there's Tesla, but
yeah, I know. World leader, I think Germany is the world leading.
Germany is definitely world leading in a lot of fields. IT, definitely more traditional, everything is more close, but it always has its pros and cons. Like IT is the best example for this. There's sometimes a little too much fear of change, so that's why we have like less startup culture and all of that.
Exactly.
But on the like other side of the coin, like data privacy laws are the best in the world, in my opinion. So
True.
there's always two sides to this. I could definitely live with more of a startup culture and more of a less comfort zone-y kind of thing in also the enterprise IT where we work in, but there's also a challenge. So, and you work to have challenges and solve them. So, and we're talking about like people coming here and definitely also enriching this culture with whatever they bring in terms of culture. So just come here and change this.
Exactly. But the other thing which I want to say is the Corona time, what happened here in Germany and how they managed it with the whole Kurzarbeit and also a lot of different schemes. So yeah, in this aspect, I think Germany is quite ahead of the whole world.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of social justice and security, in terms of politicians and the state giving you security for your jobs, and in terms of crisis, I think they handled this not perfect, but very well. Some things were kind of confusing, like how many people can I meet now?
Yeah,
exactly. I have to look up.
But they do have some rules. I think this is
and there are like a lot of rules, definitely. And I mean, with Kurzarbeit, that's a great example. Like you have the incredibly weird situation like we had with a lot of colleagues of us. Like people got afraid, am I going to lose my job?
Exactly.
What do I do? Like a lot of contracts are going to kind of disappear.
Exactly.
And what does it mean for the company? What does it mean for myself? And then the state kind of chips in and has international comparison still a lot of power to change things and force companies to keep their employees in a way. And in terms of social justice and job security and everything, it's incredibly hard to get fired in Germany.
Exactly.
Like
you
could argue almost too hard.
True.
All of this is definitely good. I mean, it's a social justice system, and that's definitely what it should be.
Exactly. And also the amount of GDP they used to fight this situation was also crazy when compared to other countries. I mean, how much they are willing to spend for the good of this.
Yeah.
This is very good.
Yeah, there's definitely also part of like culture about it, where of course the state does this, but there's also a general expectancy for the state to jump in and solve these kind of problems in a or maybe alleviate these problems in a major way. So it all comes together. It's like not just politicians doing this, but it's like a whole cultural kind of, it's almost PC, like it's almost like political correctness weighing in. So everybody screams out in the public for the state needs to spend like billions now. It's a crisis, and then that's exactly what happens.
True. I think the last question I have is also a bit political. I want to go a bit deep into, you just said these things like there is almost no corruption in Germany happening, as what it is comparatively. Exactly. So, but what can other countries do to save this kind of, or to come to this kind of point where the system is going too well? What did they do right here in Germany?
That's a very good question. In terms of corruption, I think what helps you is that compared to democracies like the US, this is a very, very new one. Like the institution, the constitution that we have is like from like 45. or probably even later, like 49. My
Exactly,
history teacher, if he's watching this, is going to hate me. But definitely very young democracy, and I think that's part of it. Like there's things in our constitution that prohibit certain errors, that fix certain errors. You can see in the US what happens if you don't fix this. And that's just learning from other democracies, and this is just, there was kind of just luck or chance, like this democracy being so young. And then on the other side, I think it's a very cultural thing too. Like Germans love to follow rules, which can be a very bad thing. We know that. But in times like these, where the political leadership is, I mean, rational,
Exactly,
and definitely humanitarian and democratic, that's a good thing. I mean, you could argue that it's almost too extreme sometimes. I mean, whenever I like invite a lot of people, like apart from Corona now, if I invite a lot of people in my home and I make like a big house party in my apartment,
yeah,
Germans are gonna call the cops because it's too loud.
2 minutes, and then,
2 minutes,
and the
then,
cops will show up. Exactly.
And of course, you just learn to deal with that, because Germans just like to be right.
Yeah.
So they call the cops. Not really, like, it's not what's driving them to do this. Isn't even, it's too loud. I'm like, this pisses me off. This is disturbing me. I cannot sleep or something. But it's like, they're not allowed to do this. They're not allowed.
Exactly. Also,
then,
when you're going U-Bahn or something, or the subway, and then guys are not wearing a mask, immediately there will be a reaction from the whole crowd, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, it's not good.
Yeah, I do that too.
Exactly.
That I do too. Like,
exactly. So yeah, I think this is also which is coming from the people, from the roots, and it all is there because if the people are not giving corruption, not giving money, so no one is taking it. So yeah, true.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that leads to that.
And
presumably.
Nice.
I'm not an expert though on corruption.
No, but still, like, thanks a lot. And what suggestions are you giving? I mean, you gave a lot of suggestions, but like keeping everything together, like, what do you want to say to people, the foreigners or the job seekers or the people who want to study in Germany? What do you suggest them to do before coming or after coming to Germany?
I'm thinking of another quote.
Okay.
Like quoting people, which is the traveling is the antidote to ignorance, and that's really it. Like visiting another country, living in another country is a good decision anyway. I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone
agree,
who has gone to another country and was like, "Oh, this is terrible. I'm gonna go home."
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know anyone. So that's almost always a good experience. If it's like a lifelong decision or if it's just a temporary experience, you can just figure that out later. Really.
Exactly.
Also be aware that whatever you hear maybe in the press or about like people who are against this, people who are
saying always
racist,
something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just be aware that they're minority and like they're like I don't know, they're like Trump. They're like the last cry of a racist, male-dominated, dumb generation that's hopefully gonna die soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand.
Don't be discouraged by any of that. Like,
exactly.
The vast majority of people are going to be glad that you're here.
See, there are guys like Lennart who will always be there and who will be helping people like us and who will always motivate us. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Lennart, for your wise words. Seriously, it was really, really informative. Even for me, I learned a lot. So, I hopefully also the viewers out there have got the confidence or the motivation to come. And thank you once again. And guys, as always, if you like the video, please like, share and subscribe. And once again in German, you can say it in German.
Oh, in German, I need to switch now. Okay. Vielen Dank, dass ihr das Video angesehen habt.
Genau.
Abonniert gerne den Kanal. Like das Video.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, like Lennart and Max also, who are my colleagues, they have they have a podcast channel where they give very nice information. I will make sure to give the link in the description below. Please follow them, and you will of course like it. So
it's in English too. So.
It's in English, exactly. So it's very informative. So once again, thanks a lot, guys, and until next time, see you.
See ya.